Hey guys, I just wanted to jump in for a second and let you know a little bit about today's live stream sponsor, DNA Funded. DNA Funded has very generous profit sharing up to 90% and 3 different unique challenge types. For those looking to get funded, they also have speedy payouts, unlimited trading days on the first and second phase of their challenges, a very wide list of different things you can trade with over 800 different assets tradable, and maybe the most important component, a very experienced team behind the whole operation. So if you're interested in learning more about DNA Funded, click the link, check it out, see if it's right for you, and make sure to do your own due diligence to see if what they have to offer fits your trading style. For 20% off, you can use code A1T20. Again, that will be 20% off any of their challenges you'd like to check out. Thank you again to DNA Funded for sponsoring today's live stream. Now back to the show. All right, everybody. Good morning. Welcome back to another live stream. As you saw in the intro, we've left the link in the chat in case you'd like to check out DNA Funded, a sponsor of the daily live stream here. And for those looking to get funded, take advantage of that promo code A1T20. Write it down. Get 20% off any of their challenges. So we've got a little bit of a market here that does not want to roll over very easily. I had some questions on the comment section of my videos yesterday. People asking, Nick, with everything that's going on in the Middle East, why aren't, stocks reacting more negatively to this? Somebody calling it like a manipulated market, and that's the only reason that stocks are still going up despite, a human crisis going on in the Middle East. And it can be really confusing when that sort of thing is happening. And I recognize, like, especially as a new investor, that would completely confuse me. If I was looking at markets and I was like thinking about stocks and I'd be like, oh, well, something's crazy going on in the Middle East or some part of the world, it would really confuse me as to why the market seemingly just ignored what was happening there. Now, not all markets are ignoring what's happening in the Middle East. A pretty obvious example of that would be, take a look at the price of gold, which shot up initially. We saw oil prices went up and still are going up, right? So we see strength in oil prices at this time due to the concerns that we're seeing in the Middle East. So it's not like markets are completely ignoring it. It's just that the market is not everything is equally taking the same kind of volatility level as oil, for example. So what I mean by this is that I put it in a perspective I think that kind of makes sense to me in my video yesterday, which is, do you think that, a fight breaking out between two countries in the Middle East, do you think that impacts oil prices? Pretty obviously, yes. Most people know that a lot of the world's market share of oil supply comes out of the Middle East. So that's pretty obvious. But is Microsoft stock, the company of Microsoft over here in the States, is it going to have a sizable difference to how much money it makes due to the war? And I'm talking about, like, is that going to seriously derail? Is that going to cause that stock to go down 10%, 15%, 20%? Probably not, because Microsoft is not, they have customers globally. They are an internet-based business. Everything is. So the reason I bring that up is that you have to think through these things. Why is the stock market index not dropping like a rocket ship lower here on this news? Because this news, although it is a scary news headline, and it's we hope and pray for the best of possible peaceful outcomes in that part of the world, the market's just not sensitive to, in terms of impact to profit margins, what's happening in the Middle East. So don't take it personal. It's not that the market is not rallying on the idea like, hey, look, there's terrible things happening, let's go up. That's not what is happening. But people take it personal that, like, the stock market can go up even though bad things are happening in the world. So this can be extended, by the way, to a lot of things. Many people, for example, really didn't like Biden or really don't like Trump, and they take it personal or become personally offended when the market goes up or down under each of their, elected official that they like or dislike. The market is bigger than all of that. The market is the collective sentiment of markets, growth of companies, economic kind of output. It's really big, right? So the idea that you're saying, okay, this thing can't go higher because Trump's the president, or this thing's going up because, or this thing can't go higher because, Israel and Iran are going at it. That is not a fully fair thing to take into account. Same thing when we saw all the hatred for the market going up under Biden, because people were like, how can this thing be going up? Biden's going to send us into a hyperinflation. The reason I share this so frequently on my channel is because this is a trap I see so many traders spring themselves into. They let their bias or their emotions completely dictate whether or not they'll allow themselves to take a trade that looks great on all accounts, except for they don't like the politics or the geopolitical or the what's happening in the world. And you have to leave that behind, right? Just something to think about. OT says he closed Kiwi yen. Nice. Yeah, New Zealand yen, last time I looked, it was doing really well. Yeah, so I'm still in this trade. I would like to see, I've been sitting in this trade for a while. I'm sitting in profits. I would ideally like to see this thing make a push up to like 89, at which point I'll close the trade. Now, I like New Zealand, the New Zealand dollar, for a number of reasons. Did we lose the score on New Zealand yen? Where are you, New Zealand yen? I'm looking for it. No, it's here. Bullish. Okay. So when we look at the New Zealand dollar against the Japanese yen, we have a score of +8. The commitment of traders data looks good. Retail positioning looks good. Seasonality for this currency pair looks good. Trend looks good to the upside. PMIs favor Japan, both services and manufacturing. So we're losing some score there. But then pretty much everything else looks pretty good for New Zealand. CPI looks better for strength in the New Zealand dollar compared to the Japanese yen. PCE also. By the way, we do have PCE for Japan. It's household spending, I think, is what they call it there. Employment change favors New Zealand. Unemployment. So when I compare these two currencies, right, when we compare New Zealand versus Japan, that is what we're doing when we're currency traders, right? I'm saying, okay, I prefer the New Zealand dollar. I also like the price momentum here that we're seeing building on this chart, right? You had this downtrend persistently, and now that you've had the kind of change in direction, I think I'm just going to let this trade run a little bit. I like the fundamentals. I like the technicals, and I think we can break out here. We'll see. If we don't, and I can continue to hold this, I've been collecting positive swaps on this thing for like a month and a half, which is great. Swaps should, and in the end, if you're a currency trader, right, the big game, if you're a fundamentalist and a currency trader, is interest rate differentials. That's the game, because the carry trade, right, when things are okay, if you see the market being okay, the carry trade is generally where I'm trying to trade in the direction of. I would say that the best depiction of what my FX side of things is focused on, after doing this for years, I've traded Forex for, oh my gosh, since 2017 or something. I'm a fundamentalist. I trade multiple different markets, but when it comes to currencies, the most clear game in town for me is the carry trade. Now, the carry trade is all about knowing when it's time to be in the carry trade versus when it's not time to be in the carry trade. And I use a dollar cost averaging approach. And essentially, I trade in the direction of that carry trade as long as the economic data suggests that that's okay. So if I go, for example, top setups eco, and I just say, only show me the economic data. This is why I built this table, really, for there's a lot of people who wanted something similar, but I want to show you something kind of cool about this. So we could do here, I don't know why, oh, there it is, major currency pairs. And let's add minor currency pairs. Let's just do some currencies for a second. So if I'm looking at currencies, right, what I want to do is I want to trade currencies that have strong economic backdrops versus their peers, right? I want to look at the growth metrics of the economy. I want to look at the inflation metrics of the economy. I want to look at the labor statistics of the economy, right? And so when I look at euro dollar, which is comparing, of course, the euro versus the dollar, we have a slight lean, but then we get really strong. And this is why I continue to like and hold the Canadian dollar long against the Swiss franc. I've been in this trade for like 2 months. So understand that when I talk about trading currencies, I am the most boring Forex trader you've ever seen. I'm the most boring Forex trader. You should never, if you want excitement and interesting stuff, you should not watch my channel for exciting Forex trades. I am the most boring Forex trader. The only person that rivals me in boringness for Forex is Chris Pulver. We are both long-term, predominantly carry trade focused currency traders. And what I mean by boring is our position sizing is tiny, it is slow, it is accumulating, and then it is distributing. Long-term fundamental views, mostly in the focus of the carry trade. But we look at the economic, because you want to be in the carry trade, but you want to be in it when it's right to be in it. You don't want to be in the carry trade on the precipice of giant recessions, because that will end horribly. You want to try and be in the carry trade when things are looking good. So I have a long position on CAD Swiss, which is not a chart that looks very exciting. In fact, it looks incredibly boring. I've collected positive swaps on this currency pair since like early April. So I've been in this trade for like 70 days. I've been in this trade for a long time, just sitting in this trade. And if it pops, then great, I'll take some profits. If it goes lower, then also great. I can accumulate some bigger positioning in my long-term position on the CAD Swiss, right? Let me just real quick, we've got news coming out in just a few moments. This is actually a really important piece of information this morning. We have retail sales, if I'm correct. Yeah, yep, we have retail sales today. I knew we had something at 8:30. So we have retail sales today in 2 minutes. This is really important because the state of the consumer in all of this is really, really important. And so we're going to get retail sales here in just a moment. If I go economic growth, by the way, if you had a question for me and you chatted me in the chat, I apologize. I'm trying to keep it moving here to cover a lot of stuff. I will answer questions later on in the stream. If we could really quick, if we could drop the link to ask a question. If you have a burning question for the live stream and you'd like to have it answered later on in the stream, we'll drop a link here in the chat to where you can fill out this quick form to ask a question, and we'll take care of you there. I'll take a look at those shortly. Okay, guys, so we have about 1 minute to go. The last two retail sales month over month numbers were better than expected. And also, I have to do this because it's going to bother me if I don't. Instead of MOM capitalized, let's do month over month. That will look better. Yeah. Okay. 1 minute to go. We've got retail sales numbers. I'm going to just switch over now to our all markets view so that we can just keep an eye on everything. So far here today, Bitcoin's lower. We've got dollar flat, oil flat, gold slightly down, NASDAQ flat to down, S&P same, kind of slightly down on the indices here this morning. So we'll get all that moving here likely in the next 40 seconds or so. Like I said, if you have a question for the stream, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just trying to keep it moving here, and I'll answer questions at the end of the stream. So if you would like to ask a question, please feel free to ask it here. I mean, no disrespect. It's just easier said than done to like stream and do chat and also do charts all at the same time. So I'm going to come back to questions later on in the stream. Okay, guys, we got breaking news here in just a second. Our retail sales numbers dropping. Stay tuned. All right. Retail sales coming out here in just a second. Let's see. Initial reaction here on the dollar is a little bit soft. Indices mostly unmoved. Bitcoin unmoved. Gold unmoved. All right, core retail sales was a little bit soft here. Retail sales softer than expected. So that would be net slightly bearish for the US dollar. And in terms of indices, not particularly positive either. So we did have a miss in retail sales here this morning. How does this impact into the story? Well, the retail sales numbers are important, right? We don't want to discredit them because this is the state of the consumer. So we're expecting on a month-over-month basis, the forecast was for a contraction of 0.5%. We got a contraction of almost 1% at 0.9%. So we got contraction in retail sales numbers. And what we can see here is a slightly negative reaction to the dollar, but really not a big move. So not too much of a move. Sometimes you get a big move out of these sorts of figures. Other times you do not. However, let's just talk about the fundamentals about this. I would say that this is net negative for indices, right? Because stocks, of course, you want to see the consumer showing up and spending a lot of money. And so anytime you get contraction in retail sales, especially more so contraction than expected, that could hit certain stocks, certain indices harder than others. So if we take a look at the dollar index here for just a quick second, you can see dollar index definitely did not need any more negative news here, but it certainly is still getting it, right? Dollar index to me, path of least resistance still seems negative. And this is actually going to tilt us back into a majority of our indicators on the edge finder suggesting bearish for the US dollar. Retail sales coming in soft here this morning. Silver, take a look at silver. Crossed to a new high here, 37. New high for multiple years. Silver is pushing higher here, still going. Copper's up a little bit, natural gas. Oil is also pushing here recently. Really big breakout on the price of oil. Bitcoin pulling back a little bit. Yields coming down a little bit here this morning. Euro dollar back towards those highs. Pound dollar, same thing. Dollar yen, pretty flat. Dollar Swiss, sitting at support. Dollar CAD, straight up bearish. The Australian dollar trending higher here as well. This is like the choppiest, grindiest uptrend you've ever seen. The New Zealand dollar, same thing. Euro yen, big breakout on euro yen. CAD yen also breaking through resistance. This is a pretty big deal too. This was a consolidation for like 2.5 months, actually longer, mid-February. So we did get a big breakout on CAD yen. I believe this is also, it was a top setups page on the last time I checked. Is it still there? It is. CAD yen top setup here, plus 12 score on the edge finder. Breakout looks pretty solid. I'm already long the CAD Swiss, so I probably won't add more CAD positions at this time, but this looks pretty interesting. Really strong move for the CAD yen. A lot of the yen pairs, actually. New Zealand yen, Swiss yen, Euro yen, pound yen, all getting pretty positive scores within the edge finder, the most neutral being the Australian yen and the dollar yen. Really interesting. Yeah, those yen pairs are looking pretty solid. Like I said, I'm long the Kiwi yen, and we're now breaking out of some key levels, sitting at resistance here. I'd like to see a break above this today if you can get kind of a follow through higher. I'm looking to target at least a move up to 89, at which point I'll probably take some profits on that move. Nick said his trading is boring, but uses two standards. How is that boring? Do you mean two strategies? If you mean two strategies, I do use two strategy. I use a momentum trading strategy, like what I'm doing with the Russell, where I have a long and I'm trailing stops. And then on Forex, I have the most boring dollar cost averaging strategy you've ever heard of. I essentially accumulate over time, and it can take months for trades to work out, or it can take, a couple days. But it's really boring because a lot of times currencies chop around on the higher time frames. They just go back and forth and back and forth. And the carry trade, collecting positive swaps and riding trends that are in the direction of positive swaps, is a strategy that it's one of the most popular games on the hedge fund level. They love the carry trade, right? Banks and institutions, they love the carry trade, but it's not glamorous. It's really boring. Like, you're talking about like making really small percentage gains and just collecting positive interest between the interest rate differentials. Like, that's a really boring game to play, but it's a game that works over the long term if you know what you're doing with it. You can get yourself into a lot of trouble, just like every other strategy with the carry trade. But typically, carry trade is a really boring way to collect positive swaps over time, or collect the interest between the two economies. Essentially, like if I'm talking about the Japanese yen, I'm shorting the Japanese yen or borrowing Japanese yen, and I'm taking that borrowed currency and I'm buying the New Zealand dollar, which pays. Imagine if you borrowed money from Japan and you lent it to New Zealand. New Zealand offers a higher interest rate than Japan. And so what you pay in interest to Japan, you just pay with it, with the net profits that you're making from lending money to New Zealand. That's essentially what you're doing with the carry trade. Now, it sounds exciting, but it's actually the most boring thing you've ever heard, because you're talking about just like if you were to put it into a savings account and collect like a couple percent per year. That's not very exciting. Well, that's essentially what the carry trade is. It's like the most boring thing ever, but it's a strategy that is really popular for hedge funds and institutions when it comes to Forex. It's probably the most popular strategy. That's popular because it can work amazingly. Again, it's not going to make you a trillionaire really quickly, but it's a way to consistently, over the long term, make more than you lose in Forex. So that's my general approach to currencies, is mostly rooted around the currency, the interest rate differentials between economies, and then studying, of course, the economic data to put myself in the right direction of these things. Trader Nick should start reacting to trades on Wall Street bets. You know, I've done reaction videos in the past, and I enjoy doing them, but I've got so many like things to be doing. You know, we're building software, and I'm trying to, you know, trade my own money. Like, I've got so many things to do. I dropped that off the list, like all the reaction stuff. I'm not saying I won't do them again in the future if I have the time. But right now, my time is I'm so busy with stuff that I'm like, okay, what are my priorities? Reacting on TikTok to people, or, you know, continuing to build out the Edge Finder, and you know, my focus has really been on growing this YouTube channel on the subject that I really want to talk about, which is genuine, down to earth trading approaches, and, you know, trading my own money, and building out our tools that myself and, you know, thousands of other people around the world are using. So that's my focus right now. Time is of the essence. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna focus my time and energy on the things that are going to do the most, you know, for myself, for my family, and for our customers, truthfully. But yeah, no, I mean, I enjoy doing them. They're fun. The TikTok reaction videos, and I probably will do more of them in the future, but they're just kind of like a low priority task in terms of a need. They're fun, but yeah. Let's see, what else do we have on the list here currently in terms of setups? Let's remove neutral. Let's see. Okay. So look at this. Chinese stocks also showing up on the list. Let me see what's going on with Chinese stocks. They rallied so much, and I was like, okay, I'm going to steer clear for now. Yeah, here's the HK50, the Hong Kong. So we've got Chinese stocks making a move higher. FXI is an ETF I track. Yeah, I like Chinese stocks, but not at these levels. Here's the DAX. I still have a DAX trade on. I'm sitting about break even on this position. I bought this pullback here. I do think that we have upside on the DAX. It is a bullish setup within the Edge Finder. So I'm currently long New Zealand, Japanese yen. I'm long CAD Swiss. I'm long the Russell, and I'm long the DAX. Those are current trades for me right now. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones on this list. Dollar CAD, I'd be interested in bearish setups if we got a bounce, but currently looking pretty looking a bit stretched to the downside for me on dollar CAD. Not to say it can't go lower, but I'm just not interested in shorting at that time. Let's take a look at Aussie CAD, which is another item on the list. Also, I'm just going to check our live stream schedule here. Yeah, we have Alan coming on in just a few minutes, which will be fun. Speaking of that, I got 5 minutes. If anybody asked a live stream question, I'm going to do just a couple of them now. So yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions I'm going to get to and try and spend a minute on each one. Let's see. Okay. Yep. Here we go. Jumping into a couple questions here before Alan arrives. Let's take a look at what we've got. Mohammed has been trading for 3+ years. Their primary goal right now is to learn more about fundamental analysis. They own some of our stuff, so thank you for supporting our work, and I hope that the tools are treating you well. When last time Israel and Iran had missile exchanges, the market dropped like crazy on that information. Yeah, so we did get a reaction this time too, right? You had the market move down like 2% or something like that pretty quick. We also saw oil prices jump. And the question now too is like, if this does send oil prices, you have to think about like, where are oil prices right now? Oil prices are at 72. If we spiked in oil prices when they were already high, that is really traumatic to the stock market. But oil prices are in a pretty good spot at 70, 72, 73. That's not too problematic. Now, if you get oil prices jumping up into the 90s, then yes, the stock market will sell off, not because necessarily the conflict that's happening, but because the conflict that's happening is causing oil prices to cause inflation. I would say if you get like a breakout above the 85 level, then the market really would probably start to worry about what's happening, simply because oil prices as an input to the economy could be problematic. That would be my reaction to it. I don't think we freak out in the stock market unless that happens. Isaac's been trading for 1 to 3 years. Primary goal right now is to learn more about fundamental analysis. I was looking at the chart for platinum, and for me, at least, it's looking a lot like it did in 2021. So I was wondering if you think this is critical resistance and will shoot price down for some time, or do you think it's a good buy? So let's just pull up platinum just to see what's going on with platinum. Platinum is ripping here. My goodness, this thing has been on fire here recently, breaking out long-term. Coming back to a long-term resistance, as you pointed out in 2021. Yeah, I don't have a really strong bias on platinum, I don't think. Let me see, is on the list? Yeah, so platinum is something that we track within the Edge Finder, and if it's not on the list, it's probably just going to be a pass for me. It's a strong chart. I mean, it looks great. Momentum, I would generally favor continuing to the upside, path of least resistance, but if I don't have a fundamental reason, there's no trade for me there. So completely neutral on this one. Let's go to our next question. I'm not going to try and say your name. I don't want to disrespect you on accident. How long have you been trading? For 3+ years. Learn more about fundamental analysis. That's your primary goal. Over the last 2 years, I stopped trading and focused on fundamentals. I've been trading now for 2 months and I'm profitable, but it's not crazy amounts. It's really small. As someone who wants to get the Edge Finder, I'm currently using trading economics for my economic data. I'd like to ask if there is any other alternatives to use for economic data. I hope to purchase the Edge Finder one day. Yeah, so if there was an obvious answer, we probably wouldn't have built the Edge Finder. That's the truth. I know it's not cheap for everyone, but it's also, as you might expect, it's very expensive to build those sort of tools as well. So we're building the stuff that we wanted, right? So I understand at some point you want to get the Edge Finder. In terms of like, how can you get economic data without having a data source or a feed? You can probably just use like Forex Factory just to keep like an eye on the news dropping. But if you want to like itemize it and categorize it and build tables and view in-depth graphs, I don't know of anything that's going to like do the heavy lifting, put it in a simple way for you and map it all out. That's better than the Edge Finder. Otherwise, I would have built the Edge Finder differently. I know that's a obvious like, oh yeah, well you're selling it, so of course you want us to think that way. But genuinely, that is my I don't know of a better tool for simply scanning Edge Finder or economic data than the Edge Finder. And in the meantime, I would say just keep an eye on the stream, watch Forex Factory. I share a lot of Edge Finder charts when I'm streaming and video. I know it's not very time saving, right? You have to watch constantly to find a chart. But I'd say if you need further help with getting the Edge Finder, we do also offer payment plans. If that's something that you're interested in, if you'd like to break it up into a couple payment plans, send us a message. We'll drop a link here in the chat to where you can message us, and someone from our support team can give you some information about what that looks like. So we do, like I said, we offer payment plans to make it easier to afford the Edge Finder. We also offer discounts to people in places where the US dollar is very expensive. So we are considerate of the price for people who are like, if they're in a place where the dollar is just ridiculously expensive, We respect that. Send us a message and ask us about it, and we'll see what we can do to help you out. Samson's been trading for less than 1 year. Primary goal right now is to improve their trading psychology. Nick, why is there so much sell pressure on gold these past 2 or 3 days? My buy limits keep getting stopped out. Are you trading it on a really low time frame? Because it's not really moved very much here recently. I guess if you're trading like the 5-minute or something like that, but I don't usually get down into these lower time frames. For me, on the 4-hour and the daily chart, for the most part, we've just been kind of sitting at all-time highs. In terms of where we're going from here, I think we're just stalling out and waiting for the next catalyst to either break us out, in which case I'd be pretty bullish if we got a strong breakout, or if we get something that's like really dollar strong, which we just have not quite seen, maybe we see a bigger push lower. But right now we're in kind of a choppy market setup. Like gold's really back and forth right now. So I'm not trading it. I would have a hard time trading it if I was, because it's just been choppy. But I do like the upside more than the downside personally on gold at this time. Phaser's been trading for 3+ years. The primary goal right now is to learn more about fundamental analysis. They own some of our software, which is awesome. Hi, Nick. You mentioned you're very passive on Forex. Were you always that way, or did you switch later on? And what are the assets you trade most actively? So I'm not passive on Forex. I'm constantly watching it and placing trades. It's just that when it comes to what I do in Forex, the reason I say it's boring, which is the word I mentioned, is because a lot of what I do in Forex is very much like it's not something where I'm looking for like a 6% return in a week or something like that. I'm looking for really slow and steady accumulation. So like, let's just say, here's what I mean by boring. Like I have a bullish perspective on the Canadian dollar against the Swiss franc, and I've been accumulating positioning in this currency pair. So I bought some over here and I bought some over here. I'm currently sitting just under break even on this position, like slightly red. And what I mean by boring is I've sat in a trade for like 2 months and just sat through it, collected positive swaps, and done nothing with the position. And if it moves lower, right, then I may choose to actually add another position with the idea that I'm long-term thinking that we may have some upside in this currency pair. The reason I say boring is because it's not like I'm short right here with a stop loss right above and I'm taking profits down here and I'm quick 3R and I'm on to the next trade. Like, I'm not saying you can't do that, but when it comes to the way I trade Forex, it's very slow accumulating over time or distributing over time, right? The old adage, accumulation distribution. I'm building really tiny positions on this currency pair with the idea that I think likely there will be an upswing, in which case I'll take some profits. And if we keep going lower, then I have such tiny positioning, hence why it's so boring, that if it keeps going down, then no problem. I'll build a bigger position, because that's ultimately, fundamentally, I think that that's good value for the longer term upswing that I think is likely in this currency pair. Hopefully that makes sense. I know, again, the reason I say it's boring is because it's not big swings in terms of returns. I'm not going to like make 50 grand a month trading Forex with that strategy. It's really boring and really consistent. That's the positive, right? The thing is, one thing that you at home should really think about, and this really changed my context on trading big time, is that the more boring I made my trading, the more consistently profitable I became. The more boring I made my trading, the less I stared at my screen phone. If I'm down on the 1-minute chart watching every candle, something's completely wrong. If I made as I've done this over time, the more boring my approach has become in terms of methodical, strategic, like systematic. Every single trade is the same way. It's boring. It's not exciting. The P&L swings are not super dramatic in terms of a percentage, I guess, the percentage swings. The more boring I made it, the more consistently profitable I became. And the thing is with that is boring is good in trading. And I'm not talking about like, oh yeah, no, I'm convincing myself it's boring. I'm talking about like, it's actually boring. Like, I have to remind myself like to check my Forex trades once a day. I take that back. I check like once or twice a day just to see what's going on in the currency world. But this is not keeping me up at night. It's super boring. It's super slow. And hence why it's so consistent for me. So again, I'm telling you, when I made that change, I know, like, here's the thing. I know there's a bunch of people in this chat right now. I've been there. I've been on the other side of not being a profitable trader yet and wanting it so bad, right? I've been in that shoe, or I've been in those shoes back in the day, and it was really frustrating. I was like, I really want to be that profitable trader that is doing this, and they're getting their work done, and then they're like, kind of just watching the markets, and that was what they did for a living. I wanted to be involved so bad. I was like, you know what I realized, so I wanted to be involved, I wanted to be trading, I wanted this to be a thing for me. And I can tell you what I also did not want to do in the back of my head, and I might be speaking directly to somebody, is I did not want to accept that the journey to getting there was going to take a lot of time and a lot of working overtime at a job and finding new income sources and investing more into my trading account, because I knew in the back of my head, I can make money consistently in the markets. I just can't make a lot of it quickly unless I had a large capital basis. That was what was happening in the back of my head. And someone out there is thinking the same thing. They're like, yeah, if I had 200 grand, I could trade pretty consistently, but I don't have 200 grand. And so I can't trade like that. Somebody's thinking that right now, right? But that's short-term mindset. And when I changed my mindset to saying, okay, fine, I don't have 200 grand right now, but I can get there. And I can take on a second job. I can save money in other ways. I can invest in my trading account rather than taking, and buying myself some stupid watch, right? The second I changed everything like that, trading strategies are not just about placing trades on charts. It's about finding ways to build up capital. It's about finding ways to make this steady enough so that you can do this long term. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm resonating with anybody, but if you're like, yeah, I could do well if I had 200 grand, change that mindset, because that's dangerous. Because I was there too. I didn't always have the money that I have to trade with now. And I know how frustrating it is to be like, dang, I know in the back of my head, trading takes money to make money. I know it and I hate it, right? I know, because that used to make me so annoyed when I would hear that over and over. But once I accepted it, things started changing for the positive for me. Once I started saying, fine, I'm not going to make 10 grand a month anytime soon. When I accepted that years and years and years ago, guess what? Now I'm able to do that. Now I've built all sorts of different income streams. I built this YouTube channel. I run a software company. I used to be I'm a software engineer by trade. So I used to work a job, and I had a couple jobs before I started my business. And so I learned a lot about software engineering. And so the point is, if you really want to be a full-time trader, embrace that it's a long journey. Embrace it. Don't try and rush it. Rushing it will make you blow money over and over, and you'll never get there. If you're someone who's like, I refuse to believe that it's going to take me that long, then trust me, I was there too. But until I changed that perspective, until I changed that mindset, I was working against my own goal by trying to rush it. So, yeah. So, and I know not everybody's going to agree with me on that. Some people are going to be like, yeah, easy to say, you're already on that side, whatever. But trust me, I know the frustration of wanting to be a full-time trader and not having the capital to do it. I know the frustration of, oh my gosh, everyone's telling me it's going to take 5 years to figure this stuff out and start becoming profitable. And then you're also hearing, and some people are selectively hearing. That's the other thing in the trading world. A lot of people selectively hear. They don't hear this part. They don't hear that if you can make a couple percent per month and do that consistently, you're doing really well. Because then people start doing the math. They whip out a calculator and they say, well, I have $5,000 to trade with. You're telling me that if I make 2% per month, that's good? Yes, I am. It's just that you have a capital problem. Percentage returns, if you're like, no, that's not enough money, well, then you're taking a short-term approach to this stuff. If you imagine you had 20x the amount of money you have to trade with right now, and apply that same percentage, and how does that number look? It probably looks a whole lot better. How does 2% of $100,000 or 2% of even $50,000, like that, it starts making more sense. So if that's the problem for you, right, then you have a capital problem, not a trading skill problem. People think trading skill means making 20% per month. That's not trading skill. That's just gambling. I've interviewed tons of really successful traders, people who have managed millions and even billions of dollars. Nobody is trying to go for 20% per month. at the highest level of this game. So yeah, just context is really important. If you refuse to believe that stuff, if you refuse to accept the realities of what trading is and what it is not, you will continuously go in circles in trading and continuously blow your money back to zero over and over and over and over. And I'm telling you that because I've seen countless people do this. From my perspective, I interact with a lot of traders. I have a lot of commenters on my YouTube channel that have, they've done this. Glenn, that's exactly right. There is a plague in the trading space of selective deafness. People want you to hear, they want someone like me to say, you can change your life with trading with a simple strategy and $1,000. And that is nonsense. You can change your life with trading, but it's not going to be $1,000 in a simple strategy. It's going to be countless hours of work. It's going to be building up capital by getting a second job or reconfiguring your monthly spending and finding ways to build further income, save more money, and put more of it into your trading account, and doing that for 15 years. And nobody wants to hear that. So selective deafness is really dangerous in trading. 20% a year is twice the S&P's yearly average. Yeah, and you know what else about that, right? People love to say, oh, you could just put it in the S&P 500. Well, you have hindsight bias there too. What about if you put your money in the Japanese stock market, which used to be the best stock market for in the 80s, the Nikkei, right, was like killing it. They looked like they were going to take over the world. My dad, said when he was a kid, it was like everything Japanese was the best everything. They had at one point, many of the top worldwide biggest companies were Japanese companies, and they fell off, right? So that's the other thing is people say, I'll just, if I can, I'll just put it in the S&P 500. Well, yes, but that's not guaranteed to produce 10% per year. The S&P 500 could have 2 decades where it produces on average like 3% per year. That's also possible. So, yeah. Yeah, so when it comes to like how much you should allocate to your trading, something to think about is allocate what you can afford to lose. You always hear that expression. It is true. Don't put yourself into a financial bind to build your trading account. But if I got a bonus, if I got an extra promotion, I would work weekend jobs. I was buying and selling things on back then it was like Craigslist. Facebook Marketplace wasn't nearly as big back when I was doing this, but I used to buy and sell tractor equipment. I live in the South in the United States, and my dad and I, we would buy and resell tractors and ATVs and four-wheelers and all these things. We'd find them on Craigslist, we'd buy them, and then we'd resell them after cleaning them up, taking good pictures. That was a side hustle that I think I made in one summer. There was one summer I think I made like $15,000 to $20,000 doing that, and I was like 19 years old. So if there's no excuse, you in today's age, you can find something. If you're willing, you can find something. So if you want it bad enough, and that was partially why I got so into like side hustles, was I was like, dang, I need capital to trade. I love trading. I love investing. I love stocks. I love Forex, but I don't have enough capital to make this worthwhile. So I embraced the capital problem and said, okay, that's the side that I need to square up on. I don't need to try and shoot for 20% per month. That's silly, but I can get the capital up. I can work hard. I can get a promotion. I know I can control those things, right? Do you guys think I have a Southern accent? There's no way. See, but here's the thing. When you I live in Atlanta. I live north of Atlanta. I guess actually where my house is now, my accent might get a little bit more twangy over time because I moved out a little bit more to the farmland. Do you guys think I have a Southern accent? I'm just curious. There's no way you think I do. Well, actually, I don't know, because maybe someone who's not from Georgia might be like, oh, yes, you do. But I don't. If I do, I can't really tell it, because there's people who have way stronger accents. Okay. Good to know, Sean. Stock's still down 0.5% this morning. Nothing crazy. Did we miss Alan today? Let me just Chandler said Alan can't make it today. Okay, no problem. No problem. Guys, I don't know if you saw this, but on the A1 Trading YouTube channel, Alan had a debut video yesterday. So if you want some Alan content, there's Alan content. Just head over to YouTube and type up A1 Trading. And we put together a video yesterday with him on it. Okay, so if Alan is not making it today, our next one starts at 10:15. So, okay, we might be calling it early because I don't know if I can go that far. Appreciate your words of encouragement. You know, I have a lot of love for this game in terms of trading. Like this has been, I've dedicated the last 10 years of my life to this, right? Now, of course, this is not the only thing I live for, right? But it's my career path, something I'm very passionate about, but I'm equally passionate about like trying to put out content that makes a difference for people who are in this space. The first thing I think I can do, I've thought about this a lot. Like on my channel, what's the greatest good I could offer to the trading community? If I could stop some people out there from having a horrible, horrible financial disaster due to trading, I'd feel really like I made a difference, right? So when it comes to the trading space, people who don't like, they have selective hearing, right? We've talked about that just a second ago. And so it's really dangerous in the trading space to just jump in both feet and, load up your account with all your money. And people do that. And it's really dangerous. Like I've heard some horror stories, and I'm sure you guys have too. But a lot of new people have not heard that. And so they're like, oh yeah, no, I can figure this out. And the market it can't be that hard. I know, which companies are good, or I know which, which currencies are better than others. People have this false idea of how easy trading is, and then they get themselves into a really bad problem, and they completely go down the rabbit hole of revenge trading, and it happens every single day. And so my goal is on this channel is from like, what can I do to try and help someone, is genuinely sharing the warnings that I've learned in my own trading career. And I think that, I'm not just doing it for charity, right? We sell a product here. The Edge Finder is a product available for sale. It's a remarkable tool that we've worked tremendously hard to build, and I think it's worth every penny. I'm not selling you a dream here. This is not a magic box or anything like that. But again, that's part of the goal on my channel, is to be as real about this stuff as I can, to maybe, build that authenticity with what I'm doing. Dollar index flat here, Japanese yen flat here. VIX is up a little bit here this morning, up 6%. DAX down 0.3, Russell down 1%. Dow Jones down 0.6. Gold pretty flat. Pretty uneventful day so far. Retail sales was a little bit soft too. We see yields a little bit lower here today. The big event, I guess, tomorrow is the FOMC event that we have. So tomorrow we have the press conference with Jerome Powell, which should be pretty market moving. And during that, I am planning on actually doing, or we've got scheduled a trading battle. And I'm not sure if you guys have heard or seen a trading battle before, but tomorrow I'm going to be hosting a trading battle, which is really exciting. I'm hosting a trading battle tomorrow between Chris Pulver, you guys know him and love him, and Blake Morrow, who is another friend in the trading space. He's another content creator and very reputable trader. So we're going to be doing a 1v1 trading battle on the YouTube channel, The Trading Battle. So I have some more details for you tomorrow if you tune into the live stream. On my channel, we'll be streaming beforehand, and then we're going to drop the stream off into the trading battle. It's going to be really fun. Yeah, this is the hard part about like telling family and friends about trading, is that you really don't want to see them struggle. And you really also know that the percentages are really unlikely, that the person that you get into trading with you is unlikely to make it, which is a weird thing. So if a family friend or a family member asks me, hey, can you show me trading? I think your response is great. Like, you got to just tell them, like, it's hard. It's really hard. Like, you don't, like, if somebody asked me, hey, can you show me how to trade? I would say genuinely what I say to my audience. I'd say, you'd be kind of crazy to try, but if you're really into it, I'll show you some stuff. Right? It's really, really hard and you'll probably lose money. Like, that's the truth. It took me like 5 years to really get to the point where I felt really good about my trading. It took me 2.5 to 3 years just to get to like a break even. And then on that third year, I started getting to the point of like, okay, I'm making money. I'm making not huge money, but I've scaled that up over time. So it takes time. It's hard. Malad says, when somebody asks me, can you show me trading? I just say, nope, I'm good. You know, you don't want the smoke. You don't want the stress of trying to share it with somebody, because it's, I don't know why, but well, I mean, yeah, I don't really understand why to people who are not traders, trading is just this thing that it's like, it almost gets disrespected for good reason. Most people who know something about people who have day traded probably have stories of, oh yeah, so-and-so I know who day traded lost all their money. That's the perception of day trading to people who are not, you know, the diehard traders. The diehard traders out there have really put in the work to get to that point. Really, really put in the work. Like, it is your main thing. Like, I personally don't know anybody who's a profitable trader that it's not their entire thing. Like, some people are accountants, some people are in marketing, other people are, video editors. Everybody has their skill, right? Traders are traders. Like, that is their thing. And somehow, to common people who don't trade or not as insane as us, right? The normal people that don't trade and stare at charts all day long and look at the economy for hours on end, normal people, they say, how hard can it be? So it can be a little triggering as a trader, because you're like, oh, it's pretty hard. Like, it's a thing that I earned, right? And we're in a safe space together here, because I see you guys, and I imagine you see me too on that. But most people are not going to see us. So if you're thinking about like, hey, I'm at a family gathering and someone's like, hey, show me that trading thing, how hard can it be? To them, it's like an online casino, and you're just like, they don't take you seriously. But I see you. If you've become a profitable trader and you've made it to the profitable standpoint, you should be very proud of yourself. It's a very hard thing to do. If you're not there yet and you're crazy enough to keep trying, we also see you. If you're on your way, if you're working towards it. I mean, there's some smart people in my audience. I can tell you there's some smart people in my audience, because there's people who correct me on stuff, and they do it in a loving way. But like the other day, someone pointed out, hey, Edgefinder's score on the DAX. Remember that? Some of you guys might remember. They were like, the Edgefinder's score on the DAX is off. PMIs were positive for Europe. DAX should be getting a positive score in that section. And I was like, dang. There's some, Ball Out, Lee James. You guys are smart people. Cheryl's, there's lots of people in the chat that are, I can tell you guys know your stuff. You know a lot of things, and that's great. I love having that kind of community aspect. So anyways, just a quick note too. If you have jived with our conversation, I'm going to sell you something. So if you're not interested, understandable. We're going to shut down the stream here and you can move on. But if you indulge me for a second, I want to tell you why you should join, if you have not already, our Discord. So we offer a Discord service where you get a whole bunch of cool stuff. And I want to show you this. So again, if you want to leave, respect, all good, understand if you don't want to buy anything. Let me tell you why you should buy something though, because I've done my best on my YouTube channel to stay authentic, and everything that I offer for sale is something that I would buy myself 10 times over. Everything that we sell is something that I believe is worth every penny, and it would have helped me in my trading career to get there. So let me show you some stuff about our VIP group really quick, and then we'll shut down the stream. So give me a chance. If you don't have a VIP membership with us and you're like, all right, Nick, why? Why should I consider it? Give me a shot. Here's why. So what we do in the VIP group is you get access to all of the trades that we're taking. And when I say we, I'll show you in just a second about what's inside the group. So we trade gold, we trade Forex, we trade indices, we trade stocks and options, and we share signals on everything that we're doing. Signal seller. He's a signal seller, guys. I knew it. It was all a scheme. I get it, but give me a second. I'll show you. Signals by themselves are not bad. Signals from unverified traders who promise you to become a millionaire, that's bad. That you should avoid like the plague. But let me tell you why my signals are worth every penny. I recognize the irony, but give me a shot. Give me a chance. So trade signals, right? Trade signals basically get notified whenever we take a trade. Every detail about why I'm taking a position is shared. Entries, exits, chart analysis, why I'm taking a position, this gold trade, for example. I'm trying to zoom in a little bit more, gold trade that I'm in, the entry where I'm stopping out if I'm wrong, the analysis behind why I'm taking the trade, etc. We also offer a comprehensive guide set, including strategies that we've built ourselves. We also offer coaching webinars. Chris Pulver does a couple coaching webinars. Ivan also does coaching webinars, and I do some as well. So you can tune in to some of our private coaching and ask questions to our traders. We also offer a trade tracker where you can get right within. Let me show you what this looks like too. So if you are a Gold VIP member, then you can get access to this, which is our brand new trade tracker. You can see all the trades that I'm in directly within this portal that you unlock access to. So in this guide, then again, this is brand new. We just got done finishing this. We also added Alan's Trades, who's our newest trader, joined the A1 trading team. And then we offer a comprehensive guide on key topics. Now we have some more stuff that's still pending. We have an intern working on some of this stuff, but fundamental analysis guides, comprehensive videos, tutorials. Now all this stuff is available for free, but what we've done is we've mapped it out for our users, right? So you can map out and look through things on unemployment claims. You could spend hours in here learning this stuff on a guided approach, step by step. We offer technical analysis guides, right? So you can go through here and find all this. So I know I'm giving a sales pitch. So if you just tuned in, I'm sorry. I'm selling. I'm an evil salesman right now, but I'm telling you why I think you should purchase our VIP membership if you haven't already, because we're doing our biggest sale of the year, and I'll get to that in a second. Okay, so let's keep going. Here's maybe the biggest reason. When we offer a signal service, what I find to be important in that is to have integrity to show real performance. Now, I don't give every single detail about what I'm doing because this is not a financial advice service. This is not me telling you what to do with your, with your personal trading account. I'm not here to tell you you're going to get rich copying me or anything like that. But if you are a serious trader, it is important that when you watch someone or you learn from somebody or you invest hours of time watching and learning or even considering purchasing a service, that you actually see some results. So I've done a live login video on my channel, going through my brokerage. I've pulled it up many times on live stream as well. We can go through all the different stats. So I encourage you to go take a look at some of these stats in more details. I also had, I think this was up to 5 years on my FX book before I had a Hugo's account that I was using purely to just track my trades, and it shut down when they lost their license to MT4. I know, convenient, but I made a video right when it happened, and they made the post public. So there's a video on that too. Here's some quick examples. So we trade a little bit of everything. Like here's an S&P 500 trade. You can see every trade breakdown and why the trades were taken step by step. These are all things that get alerted to members throughout the trades. Gold, same thing. Right. So when I take a trade, shares here. Silver, same thing, right? Silver broke out. I took a trade on the pullback. All the context behind why the trade was taken. So if this, this is what comes included with every trade. Every trade is a breakdown. Every trade is explained thoroughly and all the research behind it. Here is our analysts. So I remember that I mentioned that it's a we concept. There's a couple of us. So it's myself, which you guys, nice to meet you if you're new. There's Alan Perez, who just joined us here recently. We have Ivan, who is, of course, a regular stream contributor here as well. And Alan and Ivan are a little bit more heavy on the Forex side. And I am more heavy on the indices and gold and commodities side. I do also trade Forex, but that's kind of where my focus is a little heavier, is the indices and commodities. And then we also have Chris Pulver, the one and only. He has a separate service with us. He doesn't work for A1 Trading. He has a separate service that you can also bundle with that, called the Pulver Alerts, if that's something that you're interested in. So that is pretty much it. I would encourage you, if you haven't already explored the VIP group, if you're interested, explore it here. I just dropped a link in the chat. And if you would like to take advantage, if you're like, let's do it, it's worth every penny, give us a shot. We're doing 45% off for limited time to join the group. If that's something that you're interested in doing, we'll drop a link here in the chat to where you can speak directly to our support team about getting access to a membership. We'll drop that link here in the chat now. So if you'd like to, actually, hold on. Sorry. I messed that up. Okay, so here it is. If you'd like to get access for 45% off to the VIP group and you'd like to join the group, we'd love to have you. We have an open chat room. We have access to all those things that I just got done sharing. If you're interested in finding out more details, take a second, send us a direct message and just let us know that you saw it on the stream, and we'll get you hooked up with that access. Okay, guys, that's going to wrap it up here for the live stream today. Thank you for tuning in, and thanks for sticking around to check out the service with me. I know, that was a bit of an ad, but if you're interested, I wanted to give people who are thinking about it the chance to see a little bit more details before they make that decision. Okay, guys, up next, well, actually not up next, we're ending. We don't have no Alan today. So anyways, thank you guys very much for tuning in. I hope you got some value out of today's show, and we will see you on the next one. See you guys.
Thanks again for watching today's show. Our goal at A1 Trading is to continue to share free value to our audience through daily videos and articles, keeping you up to date with the latest market coverage. If you enjoy our content, make sure to subscribe for more. From all of us at A1 Trading, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.